In 2009, the dance and music group of the Cambodian Buddhist Temple of Silver Spring, Maryland, has staged on 2 occasions Aganga Masor and His Magic Power, an original performance never before performed on stage. This work represents a breakthrough for the Cambodian American community. For the last 25 years, the master Cambodian dancers and musicians give dance and music class every Sunday during the school year at no cost to the students. Every April, at the celebration of the Khmer New Year, the students and master dancers and musicians perform on stage and at various venues throughout the year, such as the Kennedy Center and the Smithsonian. But who are these master artists? What journey has brought them to live here in the United States and achieve this work? This is the story that we will try to tell. The story is not one of just keeping the Cambodian arts alive, but it is one of healing, one of community, and one of family. (1979–1980). Thousands of Cambodian refugees are fleeing their country. They have experienced more than 3 years of insanity under the Khmer Rouge regime. Caught between the guns of the Khmer Rouge and the Vietnamese soldiers, the refugees cross the border and settle in what is going to become refugee camps. In the biggest camp, Kawai Dang, some dancers and musicians meet together. They could not practice their art under the Khmer Rouge and have lost a lot of friends from before 1975. They are eager to save what can be saved and keep the Cambodian living hearts alive. 2 persons are crucial in the emergence of the dance group. Lokye Katnapau, a former dancer at the Royal Palace in Phnom Penh in the 1940s and 50s. She was also a singer, a costume maker, and a dresser. She knows the music and has a sharp memory of all songs. The second person is Rachana Nut, who used to be one of the few male dancers allowed at the Royal Palace before the Khmer Rouge. His talent and skills were incredible. He's not only a dancer, but knows how to make costumes, jewels, and crowns. Around them were other artists, Sini and Kantianu, both Yeikatna's daughters, Vipas Heng, Rachana's nephew, Chum Nek, who brought his talent in music. As they needed more dancers, Rachana recruited young Putiritsek, who was not yet an artist. In the camp was also Rasi Sai, 29 years old, Putirit's older sister. She could speak English and French and was a translator for the organizations bringing support to the refugees. With her organization skills, she managed to get food and goods of all sorts for the artists, promote their work, and arrange for performances within and beyond the camp. Quickly, the group received a lot of attention from people outside the camp, like filmmaker Jean-Daniel Bloch, who helped organize American sponsors to welcome the artists and their families to live in the United States, in the Washington, D.C. area, and later married one of the artists. In late 1980, a group of 30 families from the dance group was admitted in the US. A few months later, the rest would arrive. At first, they were hosted in a Vietnamese temple in Washington, D.C. Upon arrival, guided by Rasi and Sarah Sai, the Cambodian refugees had to learn a total new way of living, new language, new social and cultural rules, new food. For their first 18 months, the refugees were helped and supported. Most of them found places to live in Wheaton, Maryland. The local church offered them to practice in their building. Some of them decided to go back to school. Still, with Lokye Katna and Rachana, the artists practiced their dance and music. In 1982–1983, the group performed in Tennessee, California, New York, and even Canada. But in January 1983, a tragic event broke the wonderful energy that had pushed the group so far. Rachana and Nu Savanaro, Heng Vipas' young wife, were killed in a car accident. Rachana had been the backbone of the group. All artists were eager to learn from him. After his death, it seemed like all these artists became orphans, without motivation and spirit. By the end of the year 1983, those who had decided for school options had finished their training and had to find work. Some, like Kantianu, even left Maryland for better jobs in other states. The artists became parents and it became harder to get all of them to come to every rehearsal. Grieving the loss of one of their founding parents, the dance group broke up. By the mid-1980s, the then 10-year-old Cambodian Buddhist Society was looking for a bigger place to develop its activities. The head monk at the time, the Venerable Hung Min, found that its location in New Carrollton was getting too small. In 1986, the Society bought a 5-acre property in Silver Spring, Maryland, on New Hampshire Avenue. A leading person helping the Venerable Hung Min in this project was young board member Dr. Savantun. In 1991, after fundraising nearly $2 million from the Cambodian community, the temple was started and finished in October 1992. Venerable Hung Min wanted a cultural component at the temple: dance, music, language classes. Dr. Savantun talked to Sarah and Rasisai, who invited Lok Katna in 1989. She gathered some of the group's original members. New dancers joined, like Masadi Mani, recently arrived from Cambodia, who brought some fresh ideas about the classical dance. In 1992, Kantianu, who had lived in Texas and California since 1983, also came back to Maryland and joined her mother teaching at the temple. Later, Socheta Hung, who had lived in the area since the early 80s, joined the dance group. In March 1999, Lokye Katna passed away at the age of 84. The cultural group lost its second founding parent. But the group had grown, become more mature. The artists were also less busy with the hardness of starting a new life or taking care of young children, as it was for them in the early 80s. After Lokye Katna's passing, Masadi and Nijuo took over as co-art directors. Rasisai stepped into the role as president of the cultural committee. In 2007, Narine Jamison joined Rassi as co-president specializing in public relations. Master musician Chung Nek continues to be the music director with Natalie Chuan as his assistant. The Cambodian Cultural Group of Silver Spring faces a new challenge: handing on its legacy to a younger generation. One thing is sure, their ancestors can be proud of all the good work done these last 30 years to keep the arts alive, while also being a period of recovery, healing, coming together in community, and creating family.